Now, in addition to being a powerful producer in Hollywood, Harvey Weinstein happened to also be a huge donor to the Democratic Party and subsequently a pretty big voice. Now, The Intercept's Z. Jelani did a wonderful article detailing the impact that Weinstein had during the 2016 election. Now, he wrote that hacked emails had shown that movie mogul Harvey Weinstein, a longtime ally of Hillary Clinton and a major fundraiser for her 2016 campaign, had actually urged her campaign team to silence rival Bernie Sanders' message against police shootings of African Americans. Now, before I get into the details, consider the implications here, right? So here's Weinstein. All he was a big donor, right? Now, since he was such a large donor, well, he knew all the people, he had a lot of power, a lot of influence, and so therefore he had access to the Clinton campaign, and he used that access to attack Bernie Sanders. Now, the way that he attacked him, and I guess this is the guy who came up with the idea of how to attack Bernie Sanders, and you'll know the attack when you see it. That speaks volumes. That a donor can have so much influence over a political candidate and a political party. It's pretty grotesque. Now, the emails, let me give you some details on that. They're released by the group DC Leaks, and apparently were from the Gmail account of Capricia Marshall, a close Clinton confidant who worked for her in the White House, in the State Department, and worked on her 2008 campaign. So this is somebody who was in the inner circle. Now, in an April 10th email sent to Clinton campaign manager Robbie Mook, just days before the New York primary, Weinstein invited Mook to meet up. He pointed to a Sanders ad featuring Erica Garner, the daughter of Eric Garner, who was killed by New York City police officers, as well as growing support for Sanders among Latino activist leaders. He said, quote, "I'm probably telling you what you know already, but that needs to be silenced, probably with the Sandy Hook issue." Mook wrote back, replying to Weinstein's offer to meet up and discuss strategy, quote, "Are you kidding? Let's do it. I'm here all week. This is all hands on deck. It's must win. Would tomorrow or Tuesday work?" So, now you might be wondering, oh, okay, what's the Sandy Hook issue? Well, okay, you might recall Hillary Clinton going against Bernie Sanders and calling him soft on gun control, right? Now, the reason that they did that, the reason for the attack, is that Sanders had voted against a bill that would allow people to sue the gun manufacturers over mass shootings. Now, okay, let me give a couple of things straight before I detail what I believe here, okay? Now, I'm not a fan of the gun lobby. You've seen me go after the influence of lobbying from the gun manufacturers, how they purchase the NRA. The NRA goes out and puts out pro-gun propaganda to get people to buy more guns. And whenever a mass shooting happens, of course, they put out more propaganda. You need to go buy your guns to make sure you can protect yourself. And that all leads back to gun industry profits. So I'm not a fan of that, okay? And that is heinous and disgusting. However, at the same time, when a mass shooting happens, should you really be able to sue the gun manufacturers? Now, I guess some of you might disagree with me when I say that, no, you shouldn't. The gun was working fine. The thing is, the gun is designed to kill people. It didn't malfunction when a mass shooter in Vegas, for example, shot hundreds of rounds. That wasn't a malfunction. It was working exactly as intended, and it was working to kill people because that's what they created the gun for. Okay? Now, the reason that you can sue a manufacturer is when something actually breaks and doesn't do what it's supposed to, and that causes injury or death. In this case, like I said, in all these mass shootings, the gun was working perfectly properly, doing exactly what it was supposed to do. So how is that the gun manufacturer's fault? I never could quite square those two positions. Okay? So anyway, what this is, the real problem is with the gun industry is you've got money in politics, right? Now, you've got these, like I said, all these gun manufacturers that will purchase politicians to make sure that we don't do anything on gun control, even common sense measures, like more background checks and things like that, things that 90% of the American people actually are in favor of. And that includes people that are NRA members who are like, hey, let's try and get some of these weapons a little bit more regulated. So that it makes it a little harder for somebody with a mental illness, for example, to get their hands on a gun. What we've done, actually, with the Republican Congress is it actually makes it easier for people with mental illness to go and buy a gun. Removed any sort of rules, right? So not only that, but the other problem, or another problem, I guess, if you want to add in mental health, that's also an issue as well. But there are more guns in America than people. And those guns are actually being concentrated in a smaller and smaller part of the population. So you've got more guns going to less people. They're basically stockpiling. They're basically treating guns like Pringles, okay? Once you pop, you can't stop, okay? Or like Lay's, you can't just collect one. Or in this case, you can't really eat a gun, so I couldn't say that. But anyway, now, Bernie Sanders, he knows all that, and he's like, yeah, I'm in favor of common sense gun control. You know what this isn't? This isn't common sense. It's not going to do anything. Why blame the gun manufacturers when really it's our gun laws that actually need work? Now, I agree with that. Suing gun manufacturers does not fix the problem of mass shootings. More regulation actually will. And, of course, I think some of you might disagree with me. But, anyway. Now, obviously, that's the attack that they continue to go with to try and paint Bernie Sanders as, he's so pro-gun. Look at him defending the gun manufacturers after the worst mass shooting of children. It was the worst mass shooting at that time, where it killed, 21 children in the school. Oh, how dare he? How dare he? Terrible. He says he's progressive. He's not really progressive. But anyway. So that's one of the attacks. Now, this is not the only instance where in the hacked emails where Weinstein actually discussed political strategy with the Clinton campaign. On February 17th, Weinstein sent Mook and Marshall a David Brooks column titled, quote, "Livin' Bernie Sanders' Danish Dream," where the conservative columnist chastised Sanders for wanting to adopt higher taxes, mostly for the rich, as well as an expansive welfare state. So that's what you want to call it. We call it common sense because, again, if you make sure that everybody has health care, well, then that makes sense. Okay, we can actually do it cheaper because we do it cheaper through Medicare already. But no, that of course that's the expansive welfare state with so much higher taxes. They never say who's going to pay those taxes, and it's actually more going to be the wealthy than anyone else, and maybe a small sales tax, but then or not small sales tax, but a small tax taken out of your check. But that will be offset by the savings where you don't have to actually pay a health insurance premium anymore. So again, that's how you save money. The tax will actually be less than the premium that you would pay under Medicare for All. But anyway, this is what he sent to Robbie Mook. And he said along with it, the article gives you everything I discussed with you yesterday. You have the name of an economist. You have a great New York Times writer. And you have a number from the Wall Street Journal. Let's discuss. Mook said, quote, about to forward some creative, took your idea and ran. Mook wrote back, yes, this is good, Marshall responded. So, hey man, let's just, we're the progressive, we're supposedly the progressive campaign, right? Let's go spread conservative propaganda about taxes. What kind of liberal are you? Oh, right, not a very good one. But you're perfect for a member of the establishment to continue the status quo of the ACA, of course, with premiums continuing to rise for regular people, and of course the people who still don't get covered under insurance, which will be fixed by a Medicare for All system. But anyway, here's one more. On April 17th, Brad Thompson, a senior vice president of corporate communications at Weinstein's company, sent an email to Mook and other Clinton aides highlighting some press clips of Weinstein praising Clinton and making remarks critical of Sanders. Harvey got some solid press coverage from his CBS This Morning appearance on Friday. I hope you got a chance to see it. If not, below is a video link and press pickup. Harvey and I both can't thank you enough for helping prep for this interview. Your advice was spot on, especially relating it back to his conversations with his daughter, Thompson wrote. So, there's Weinstein out there praising Clinton. And the Clinton campaign going, wonderful, let's use it. Now, it's kind of funny, right? Now, this is my own little personal kind of haha moment, even though it's not really funny. These were the people, MOOC and Clinton and all that, who were saying, oh my God, those Bernie bros are not respectful for women. Look at how they treat women. Terrible. Those Bernie bros. Yeah, but look at what Weinstein has been accused of. Multiple times. He's been accused of sexual harassment. Multiple times he had to settle in court. This wasn't exactly private, right? But no. Bernie Sanders and the Bernie bros, those guys are the people that are the sexists, that are the misogynists, that are bad to women, that don't treat women well. They're the ones holding women back. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.